So I got an audio clip that I want you guys to listen to. You probably saw it earlier today in our Slack call, but it's from Mark and Brandon from Mostly Sports, Titus and Walker, that I'm talking about, you know, the college football playoff, and we can get into if FSU got cheated as well. So go ahead, take a listen to this, and y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section too.
The system has been broken forever.
And
it finally burned us. It finally burned us. Florida State got but when it comes down to looking at that room and saying who are the 4 best teams, the committee did the right thing. And
they did not. They didn't get the 4 best teams. That's what I'm saying. How can you, like, no matter how you slice it, they got it wrong. If you want to go the 4 best teams route, Georgia should be in. Ohio State should be in. And I'm going to say, like, what if you ask Vegas who are the 4 best teams in football, do you think it's these 4?
No.
No.
It is.
So if you want to go 4 best, then go 4 best. If you don't want to go 4 best, then put Florida State in. And they didn't either. And, like, that's why I don't know how – that's why I say I don't know how you can rationally say that this was the right move. It wasn't. Team by team, they made up their own bullshit, and that is why –
They didn't. Because if you looked at the committee, if you look at their bylaws, if you look at what they go by, it has, you know, conference titles are weighted a certain way, head-to-heads weighted a certain way, and right there in a bullet point is injuries. And it is there, and they weighed that.
What y'all think, man? Yep. It's a lot to say on this one. FSU got cheated out of the playoff, but did they really? Did they really?
Yeah, they did. Look, they're both kind of right. FSU, first off, he said Georgia and Ohio State should be in if they're picking the best 4 teams. So what are you actually saying? Is it Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, and Bama, the top 4 teams? But we've already exhausted the fact that you got the head-to-heads. You got the Texas beating Bama, so Texas has a spot. Bama just beat Georgia. They can't do that, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's nothing really. FSU got cheated out of the playoffs. Here's how I'll say it. And that's how, I guess it's just the most basic and the basic way I can say it. FSU deserved to be in the playoffs, but they are not the top 4 team. They're not in the top 4 in the country. And that's what we've been saying. They would get beat first round badly by any of those 4 teams.
Yep.
And that's why we just talked about Georgia and FSU. If Georgia, they put FSU at 5 out of respect and tried just, you know, because they couldn't put them in the top 4. And like you said, the bylaws are there. They put them up on the screen. They were transparent with us. And they told us what they were going to do, and they did it. I think they got it as right as they possibly could have got it right in the scenarios that we're finding ourselves in.
What you think, Sora?
No, I mean, again, I think they absolutely got it right. Yes, I get it. Florida State was undefeated. I get that. They won a conference championship game. I get that. But it says right there, their strength of schedule was not the best, and their star player in Jordan Travis is hurt. He's out for the season. Neither of the backup quarterbacks put on a stunning performance like how, again, because people want to compare this to the 2014 Ohio State national championship team. Their third string won it. In the conference championship game, their third string also put up 54 or 56 points. Their third string showed that he was explosive. And Vic, I know you commented earlier, like, if Jalen Hurts, got injured, then, Tua wouldn't have had a chance to show all that stuff. If he got injured, Tua would have had to show out that he can ball, and more than likely, Tua would show out, hey, I can still carry this team. Rodemaker and the other guy did not show that they can lead a productive team. You faced a terrible Florida team who was up like 12-0 most of the game, then decided to just, I don't want to play anymore. You go ahead and win this. And then you faced a Louisville team whose offense is absolute dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, none of those teams really wowed the committee to say, yeah, you know what? Even though Travis is injured, they can take care of it. One of these quarterbacks can absolutely still carry Florida State. I mean, you have to, if you're going to use the 2014, the backup quarterback for Ohio State in 2014 at least showed that he can still compete. None of those matchups they competed. So no, I don't think FSU was cheated out of the playoffs.
It's interesting to look at because I agree with what everybody says on both sides. It's not the fact that I disagree with both sides. It's the fact that, like, and we talked about this earlier, right? But now it's time to just spill it all out there. If I'm looking at the bylaws, that's one of the things that they mentioned. So I have no problem with it. They're transparent. I'm not going to go back to the past and say, oh, this is what happened. This is what happened with this team. This is what happened with that team. TCU still got in even though they got beat by Kansas State in their conference championship. It was transparent this year the whole way through. It was on the website. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't argue with it. I mean, I get how Florida State feels. As a Florida State fan, I feel for them. But I always try to look at the positives of the situation too. If we get beat by Georgia,
playoff team.
Yeah, if we get beat by Georgia real bad, then people are going to be like, well, they're going to say this. Yep, Florida State shouldn't have been there. We're cool with it. Or they're going to say, depending on who sits out, well, how can you really measure it? All their starters pretty much opted out of the game. Those are the two things that we're going to get. It's inevitable. Like, people are going to fight on both sides. I think because of the last year of this 14 playoff, they did not want to happen what had happened last year with the TCU team that got the dog smack beat out of them in the national championship game. And that inevitably, by all accounts, probably would have been Florida State. The way that they played Louisville, the way that they played you guys, who was a 5-1 team, when you guys are beating us 3 quarters. And then crap the bed at the end. I think they've seen enough to prove that, wow, Tate Rodemaker couldn't get it done. And now you stick Brady in there, and what did he do? He didn't look all that great. I mean, it was all right. They did not want that to happen. The thing that frustrates me about this whole thing is that obviously people can't see that the 4 teams that are there are the 4 best teams that were available. It's like they're looking past the fact that they're so selfish on the fact that, yes, we won 12 games, and people are going to say, then why does a regular season not matter? It absolutely does matter, but you can't have a close game against Boston College. They're not even a rival of ours. You can make the excuse of why Alabama and Georgia had close games with Auburn. That's a rival. Those games are a little different.
Alabama also faces Auburn every year.
Yeah, just like Florida State faces Florida every year. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't keep that game in account. That's something that happens every year, and you know that that's not like an anomaly game that happens. That those teams know each other for the most part. And that's the one game that they look forward to. That's like a mini national championship.
I mean,
up and down,
right over the state.
So Jordan Travis, let's look at this. Is the other argument that I made for people too. Who's the bona fide superstar on that offense?
Who? FSU?
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Travis.
Y'all know Keon Coleman has sub 600 yards.
Correct. And only
I know Johnny Wilson has one. He had 2 100-yard games. Johnny Wilson, sub 600 yards. Jaheim Bell, let's not even mention him. I mean, he was good, but he wasn't like, oh my God, blow your socks off. Trey Benson had 1 game over 100 yards, which was a 200-yard game against Virginia Tech. He had under 100 yards a game. Lawrence Toafili had over 100 yards in this last game. So who really is the true number one? I mean, Trey Benson is not worth all the hype that he was getting towards the beginning of the season. Let's just call it what it is. Mm-hmm. We all liked it. Everybody had him hyped up. But Lawrence Toafili just told you in 10 carries that I'm better than Trey Benson. like I've been saying. Like I've been saying, the kid is super talented. So now you've taken away all of that. Who's the bright spot of that team? The defense. So we got a lackluster offense and a really good defense. Y'all think that our defense, our secondary is just okay. They're okay. Our front seven is good, but our secondary is just okay.
Front seven that carries your defense.
I don't understand what even Florida State fans are trying to say. Like, we're just okay. We haven't played. The way we played Clemson was sloppy. The way that we played Boston College was sloppy, and the way that we played Florida was sloppy. What do the 55 highest strength of schedule? I don't know, man. So Florida State fans, everybody want to throw the clown emoji and tell us that, you know, that we're clowns and everything. But think about it like this, because I don't want to dwell on the result is the result at the end of the day, right? We can't change it. It is what it is. And I think that this is the best thing for college football right now, except the fact that in life things are going to change. Even the bylaws sometimes might change. This thing is not lasting forever. Now, I want all Florida State fans to accept something. Everybody wants to say, well, this is going to deter recruits and all this other stuff because they're going to feel like the next time we're in a championship game that, you know, in championship contention, they're just going to say that it's okay to keep us out. We're going into a 12-game playoff next year, dummies. We'll make it in if we play like this. So y'all can automatically throw that out the window. So use this as motivation for next year. Mike Norvell coached his ass off this year. Nobody's calling Mike Norvell a slouch. Nobody's looking at Florida State like we're the jokes. Everybody's defending us right now. This is good. This is great motivation for us going into next year. The transfer portal just opened up today. Y'all, Coach Prime thinking that he's going to go in there and cook. Do you not think the amount of kids that felt for Jordan Travis and felt for us right now? There are a lot of people that feel for Florida State. You don't think those kids in the transfer portal are not ready to come? Right, yeah. Well, yeah. Do y'all not think that they feel for Florida State as a whole and want to come help us win a championship? So where is the negative in all of this that we're talking about? It's nothing but positive right now. Kids are going to want to come and smash the door down because Florida State got snubbed this year. A championship for us will come if we use this as motivation. Am I saying anything that's not correct? When you want to, if y'all was in a transfer portal and you seen that happen, you was friends with these guys, and you're like, man, I hate that happened to Florida State. Hey, yo, Mike, I'm in the transfer portal. Come pick me up, yo. Let's do this. Man,
yep.
Stop.
I'd look at Florida State right now and I'd say, what are they missing? Well, Jordan Travis. So if I'm a quarterback, I'm sitting here, I'm like, yeah, that's probably where I want to go.
And how many's in there right now, Fishing? You go down the line.
You go down the list.
Grayson McCall.
Good ones.
Well, I mean, people are crystal balled places right now, but we seen that happen with DJ last year. Crystal balled 100% to Oregon, went to Oregon State. He's one. Will Rogers, Grayson McCall. I mean, Kyle McCord's in there. Cam Ward. You know what I'm saying? Didn't Ty Thompson just enter the transfer portal today too? From Oregon?
We still got over a month of this. There's gonna be more.
It ain't over till it's over, bro. 12-team playoff next year. So stop saying the excuse of they're just gonna make it okay for teams that win out not to get in. That ain't gonna happen. Teams that win out are going to get in. It's inevitable.
And teams that even have one loss still get in.
Going back to when that video started, they said, okay, they finally did it to us. Like, they finally screwed us. Like, all the morality is out the window, and it just is what it is. But like we said, they did the thing that they were supposed to do and the best thing they could have done. The top 4 teams. And then people talk about the ACC's record against the SEC, but we got to talk about Florida State's record against the SEC. LSU lost to Bama. They beat LSU, but that was the first game of the year. So say what you will. And then we talked about the Florida game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get the record and stuff, and like, oh, the ACC is better than the SEC. You know, like, it's just mute points to me. In the grand scheme of things, it's mute points.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an optimistic Florida State fan that's not. I love the fact that everybody's defending my school. And would I have been hyped if we would have got in? It would have been cool to get into the Final Four, but also that doubt in the back of my mind, like, man, Could we win? Anybody could win. But if I had to realistically match us up to where the rest of these the competition of 3 of those teams that are in there right now, and we would have been number 4 or whatever, I don't like our chances. I don't.
What would Blake Corum do? I mean,
that's the thing. I don't know.
I don't know. And we never will.
That's probably for the best.
We'll never know. I don't know, man. Like, it's great. People don't understand that this conversation that we haven't had this since this thing has started. Has there been as much controversy now as has ever been during this 14 playoff?
No.
I don't think so. I can't think of a year where it was like, this is controversial. I mean, you got even Kirby Smart coming out and saying, I feel for you. And now they got us matched up with each other. You don't think that, like, we're sitting on thumbtacks right now, too? And they got to play each other. Georgia's pissed off, too. Kirby was like, we were ranked #1 all year, and we lose against a rival in a close game, and they kick us all the way out. Yeah. How does that make sense?
I've lost.
I mean, yeah, exactly. You shouldn't have lost. I mean, you can say the same thing about Florida State. You shouldn't have had a close game against Boston College of Florida. I mean, it's just so many different things to consider in this whole thing, man. And it's, like you said, it's a moot point in some of this stuff when the bylaws are there. The bylaws are there. Jordan Travis is way too important to Florida State for people to overlook. And it says if a key player is out on injury, unfortunately, it is what it is. I don't care what it said in the past. It says it right now. That's where everybody's got to accept. It says it right now. Regardless if you like it, and I like it, Slower Fishing, we don't like it. It says it right there, and they were transparent about it since the beginning. It's been there. I mean, unfortunately, it is what it is.